Hey everybody, Ramey here. So we're in week 3 of teaching. We've been quarantined for several weeks now, and I just want to kind of talk about updates, things that are happening. Basically, just let you know like what's been kind of happening with me, what's been happening, kind of everywhere in the U.S. What we've been. Let's see if I can make this a little better. There we go. Nah, just gonna keep it like that. Just basically give you some updates about like where things are, what's the state of things, how teaching's been going, how my students are reacting, how my school's been reacting, what's been happening in the world with just everything, really. So, okay, so let's talk. So first thing, let's talk about some classes and just like the state of things. So first of all, I feel like this week was my most normal week back to work. Now, I teach in a program we've been fully online always. So going online, as my university has, didn't impact my program per se, but it's impacted my students' lives a lot because a lot of them are K to 12 teachers, or they've lost their jobs in corporate, or their corporate job is online. And it's like, so, they're in a whirlwind and stressed. But I feel like we've come to accept our situation a little better and realize like everyone is home. So we are a little, I feel like this week was felt much more normal. I graded assignments. I've been in the discussion boards a little bit. I've been seeing students interact a little more, send me emails. We've been doing advising. I've been talking to all the students, seeing how they've been doing. So I feel like that's been going better. So I feel like some things are actually like improving as far as like our initial shock of what happened. What's been happening in education in general is still like absolutely insane. Like, as I predicted from the first time I did a video to a Facebook post a month ago, was that students are not going back until the fall. Schools are more schools now than ever have canceled. My state has still, my kids are still, technically my kids are still on a break right now. Is still going until May 15th. So we're technically still going to have some school this year, but like my kids go to year-round school, so they've been on a 3-week break, and their break actually ends today. I mean Monday. So we've been giving them an actual break because they do need it. But starting Monday is going to be like hardcore elementary school here for my wife and me, while I'm also being a professor and doing all this other stuff. So it's going to be really crazy. So like, I feel like I've been way more busy than normal. Like I've seen people like my neighbors and stuff who are like, yeah, I have all this time. I'm doing this, like built a deck or something. And I'm just like, that's awesome. Was so busy. I have less time than normal to really do anything right now, which is kind of crazy. Like I'm way more busy than usual. I just don't have time. It's like advising. Students are advising. So this is really interesting. So first of all, I feel like my enrollment is increasing right now. Maybe that's because of my field, because we're the experts in teaching online. So people are more inclined to want to enroll in a program to learn to teach online because they're now seeing that as a really great future career path. But I have a feeling that colleges are going to be doing pretty well in the fall semester. I posted this LinkedIn link today about students are actually rebuilding their campuses in Minecraft so that they could virtually be at their campus. And someone commented, like, it just goes to show that a campus is more than just like a place to learn. It's like a place that these students love to be at. And that was a great comment, and I totally agree with what they had to say. The fact that students are building their college so they can feel like they're there is really, really interesting and says a lot about the dynamics of these students. I've always said, like, I always felt like online education for undergrads was never going to take over in the 18 to 22-year-old crowd, because they need to go to college. They learn a lot there. There's a lot that happens there that teaches them to be an adult and teaches them to be successful in the workplace. And it's a lot more than just taking classes. It's partaking, I run an esports club, and it's partaking in that club and other activities where they learn to take on leadership roles and have all these like mini internships. So there's a lot of things, and it's also a time for them to be on their own, but also make some mistakes without having to have like huge repercussions. So I think that there's a lot to it, and just seeing that these students are reconstructing their campus in Minecraft is just like amazing to me. Like, they're sitting there learning about like architecture and mathematics while they're playing a video game, which I always love because I'm a huge gamification, game-based learning guy. But it's just really fascinating to watch like what's happening in the world right now. Teachers are trying to scramble to learn to teach online, and I just can't imagine having to do that. Going and learning how to set up video when you just don't have the technology, and like preparing lessons for like, especially like my son's in first grade. Like, what's his teacher gonna have? Like, we have to do it with him. He's too little to do much, and like, it's gonna be really, really challenging to turn those kind of live classrooms online, especially because teachers have not been trained to teach online. They've been trained to teach in a classroom. They haven't been trained to develop curriculum. They haven't been trained to teach online, and now all of a sudden they just have to do it. Like, it's a big challenge. Okay. So I think that's where we're at. I feel like we're in a better place than we were 2 weeks ago in education in the US, as far as like people are feeling a little better who are not being directly impacted right now. Now we can talk about like, I want to talk a little bit about like the state of what's happening just in the country in general. So we now have hotspots in America. Over the last week, we went from predictions of like 200,000 to 300,000 people potentially dying to now maybe 60,000, which is a horrendous number still, but it's 3 times lower. We feel like that we're very close to, New York City was the big hotspot last week, and it's just been like terrible there, hearing what everyone's been going through, watching people, friends and family on Facebook, trying to communicate with people. I've been trying to communicate with people to find out how they're doing, to make sure that they're okay and stuff like that. But it's been really a really scary time for everyone in these areas. And it's just absolutely crazy what's happening. And it's just to think like it's New York City, like even though I'm 8 hours away from there, like I've worked there before. So it's like really, and some of my best friends are living there, and it's scary, and I hope that everyone's okay. And it's crazy to see what's happening. But on a positive note, it seems like we're about at our peak. Daily cases have actually went down. Now deaths are still increasing, but we're like lagged 2 weeks behind. So there's a chance this could peak in the United States like in the next week, that our quarantine efforts are actually working and paying off. The big question is, okay, so that's a huge relief, and I'm so happy for that, and everyone will be too. But how do we go from that to getting back to some state of society without increasing these cases again? I have some ideas, like you have to shut down air travel in the country for a while. You have to shut down definitely border, like, lots of strict measures like that, where if we want to get back to normal, we have to almost like seclude ourselves in to like the United States, and be very like, if people want to come to the United States, what China's doing is they're making them quarantine for 14 days. So we're going to have to start doing some things like that until we have a vaccine or treatment for this. I just see no other option. Stock market has actually been doing well. It's really not down that much from the whole thing, but I'm nervous about that. I've heard that we're like about 20% more people or so have not been able to pay April rent. So like, are people losing their jobs? Government's doing stimulus. So there's things like that which are like scary that we don't necessarily know about. It's almost like unbelievable that we're in I wake up every day and I'm like, is this real? Like, are we really in a state where like I can't go anywhere, and like people are getting really sick and dying, and like really healthy people are like, this is a terrible virus? And it's just crazy to think about. We're out of protective equipment. So last week I was able to order some N95 masks off Walmart.com. They were supposed to come tomorrow, but they haven't shipped yet. But if they do, I'm donating them. So I hope I do get them, because I know our hospital is really low and doesn't have them. It was only like a box of 20 was all I was able to get. But if they do come, that'll be 20 more masks that a hospital is going to have. So like, I really hope that like I can do that, because that's something at least I can do, because I can't really do anything else. I can teach and I can try to help people online, but like I can't like be there to help in a hospital. But so if I can donate something, that would be great. So hopefully I'm able to do that. But I don't know like what's happening with that stuff. Like, I don't know why a company would be shipping them, because a random person could just be hoarding them, which is totally not cool. Like, you gotta give those away. Like, I know our hospitals like seeking them, and like our police don't have them. So like, the more that we can give, the better. Right now, me and my wife have a mask that I use for painting and stuff. So I've already had one, but like, if I can get more, I'm gonna give them away. Food supply's been good. You can still go to the grocery store, but they're really starting to recommend that you try to avoid it. I really think we need to do less going to the grocery store and more of like drop off, pick up, delivery type stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. That's what's been happening is where people are. You know, people are just glued to the news, watching what's happening, and it's affecting everyone's stress. Like our schools, our jobs, everything is not as great as it was a month ago. Like we're in a different state, and it's depressing, but it's interesting, and I really hope that things can improve so we can get back to where we were. I just don't know how that's going to happen and how long that's going to take. Sooner is better, but you know, we'll do what we have to do. You know, me and my family are staying in. We're trying to avoid people. We're trying to do our part by not getting other people sick or us sick. So hopefully that's it. But thank you very much. I'll be on, give another update next week about where we are, what we're doing. Thanks a lot, everybody.